So this is going to be where my liquefied beet pulp gets loaded into these tanks. And I have a uncoupler right here, and that lines up, as you can see, perfect, more or less, with where I just put that temporary 2 skewer sticks in that plastic back there. But this is where I fucked up. Back when I was designing this, I was actually using a different tank than this tank. So when I was measuring out all these uncouplers, cutting them, as you can see all right here, I don't have them all installed yet, except this one. I had the wrong measurement. So the idea was that I'd be loading 3 tank cars at a time, and this was the unloaded position, and then as they would load, the switcher would pull them 1 at a time, 2, 3, and then the switcher would uncouple there. But my uncoupler is located right here, and it should be located right here. So like I said, I was using the wrong type of tank car for the liquid beet pulp at the time. We know these are the right ones because they have the where you drain them right there, and that was the whole reason they would ship beet pulp by tanks, because they could use gravity to unload them, and it was pretty easy. They would just need to hook up their hose to, you know, the Purina mills or wherever they'd make the livestock food, and they could just drain that right in there, and you know, it'd already be liquefied to get turned into whatever type of slop for the animals. But I didn't necessarily know that about the cheaper shipping costs by the gravity liquefied versus the pellets and the 3 bays. And I measured actually a shorter Atlas tank car at the time, and that's why this is not lined up. Now, why is it such a big deal? Here's why it's a big deal. Alright, these get delivered, it's lined up perfectly with the stand to be loaded, and there's going to be the Walthers, you know, little loading stand there. You know, but as, you know, you load 1, 2, 3, there's 3 in position. I don't want to have the switcher or whoever's doing this to pull forward, uncouple, and leave it out of position. It's just not realistic. That last one should be put in position and left, and the switcher can go, and that one gets loaded without the switcher having to wait to do this little 1-inch move. So what I got is this thing from Home Depot for my Dremel tool, and I'm gonna try to do an operation and move this fucker right here to right here. And I might even put 2 magnets in there and just make a long extended one of these, so have both, or I might just run it from this side and have it swing this way, but it needs to be right here. And I'm gonna try to do that without messing up the dirt and ballast I already have done. This is the pink foam underneath. It's 1/4 inch. Oh no, this is not. This is the styrene, thin sheet of styrene, and then there's pink foam right in there. So I'm gonna try to do that without messing up any of this ballast work I've done. Now let's do some more ballast work. You know, this is, might as well do this now, because if this gets all messed up I can fix it. This is the line, this is the temporary section, and this is like the real layout. Like when I move, this is what's coming, and this might change a little bit if it gets connected to or the expansion. This might actually have to curve more like this, depending on the size of the room, if I ever move to a new house. So that's why I'm just kind of experimenting with this before I move over to this. Let's take a look over here. These turned out pretty good. You can see those rails. This is what happens when you get sloppy doing your glue. See that bullshit? So I had all this sprayed with rubbing alcohol, and then I'm dropping my Elmer's H2O mixture with the dropper over it. Drop, 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 and I missed some spots. And this is what happens when you miss spots. Get little cracks that don't belong. So I'm gonna have to go through and redo that. And the reason it happened, I had this was just covered in white Elmer's glue water mixture, and I was like, that's not all gonna soak in. So I was going, you know, being a little more conservative with it, and that's why I missed these spots. And now they really are apparent now that I went over it with the vacuum. A little bit right in there too. Oh, right here too. See, there just wasn't enough glue there, so you really got to soak it. You know, and how you get this to look dry like that is after the Elmer's glue soaks in, you start dusting it with dirt, and the bottom part of the dirt kind of adheres to the wet ballast, and the top stays dry. Like if you do it too soon, it looks dark and like mud like that, but the longer you wait, the more it looks like this, and that's stuck there. That ain't coming off. Where's some other muddy spots? Yeah, see right here, I didn't get enough glue right there, and all that vacuumed up and it left a little hole. But this turned out pretty good, at least in between the rails here. I really doused it. That's the dirt. I just went along the train tracks and found the spot that I liked, that looked the best. And I just started taking dirt out and shifting it through a little shifter. And this is what there was. And then this is what I sprinkle on top of the, well, this is still wet, and I kind of dab it in. That's why it looks like that. And see, the base underneath all the dirt is really brown ballast, and then on top of the brown ballast it gets filled in with this that makes it look not like ballast. You got to start off far away, because if you start off close, you're going to mess up all your stones. You got to start off way up here and then work down. You got to really soak it, or else it don't work right. Okay. And do like this. And this is going to mess up all that paint you just did, but at least you got a base coat down to touch up afterwards. And you're good. I see something I don't like. I see a little ballast right here. Just get that off. After you get the alcohol on there, it's super sticky. You can't be messing with it really. And it evaporates quick, so really soak it. Then you get your H2O and Elmer's, about 50-50 or a little more Elmer's. Normally, you just can start soaking it. Yeah. And then when you get into the switch areas, you got to make sure you don't get it on moving pieces, but as close as you can. And then if you see it starting to pick up some little stones, it's because you don't got enough alcohol, and you can spray some more. When the glue mixture hits the stones, it's not supposed to pick up ones, and if it's picking it up, it's because that particular stone that it's picking up doesn't have enough alcohol on it. And for the careful areas that I'm doing right here, I'm just put extra alcohol. Look, just put even more and more alcohol. It's normally the solution to many things in life, at least the easiest solution. How much alcohol was there? So I did the whole Michigan Sugar lead. I did the whole lead, those two little sections right there. Use this whole bottle. This bottle's empty. That's how much alcohol you really need to use. It just makes the glue work so much better. You know, if there's a little bit of 1 or 2 pieces of ballast up on your tie, it's okay, you can get it afterwards. Now as you spray this alcohol on, it's going to kind of loosen up all your paint you just did. So you're going to want to remember that. If it's messing it up some places, you know, that's just the way it's going to work. You're going to have to redo it. But at least you got a base coat of that stuff on there. So you don't have to do it all with the ballast there, because that would just be way too hard. It's only going to really remove the paint if you're touching it. Yeah, see, I got some stones there. It's not wet enough. More. And I'm just going to go back and give everything more. It just makes it work so much better. It gets that glue mixture down in there. I think I got almost everything here. using one of these little skewers to mark where I stop. I'm going to put it right here. That's where I'm stopping. Because once the ballast gets the alcohol on it, it's going to stay that color if there's glue on it. So you think, okay, when I start up again, I'll be able to see the difference, but you won't, because then you're going to spray it with alcohol and it's just going to look like the stuff that just dried previously. Now this stuff takes a long time to dry, and you can't really mess with it while it's wet. It's just going to like stick to your fingertips. It's going to stick to whatever tool you got. So you just got to leave it there. Soak it some more. So now here's some details. You see there's some glue in between here. That's fine for now. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to let it soak down, and that's going to all soak down into the ballast. And then in like an hour, if there's still some in there, I'm going to just come scrape it out with my scraper. But you know, whatever you do, you can't start touching the ballast now. Your ballast is where it is. You're gonna have to wait till tomorrow to mess with any of this ballast. Okay, this all looks good. I see some spots, I don't know if I missed, but like just right there, I just want it in there. It's better to have a little more. And then, here you go. Down here in the switch stand, I still got a little space. I'm gonna take just a fine little pinch of this dry ballast and just drop it down in there. That was literally just about 10 grains just to cover up the bottom. And then I'll just use my finger or brush just to get those ones off the top of the tie. Hope that didn't work. I'll use my finger. There. And then I'll just use this to make sure they're down in between there, so my switch rod can fit down in there. And then, you know, I use that turquoise piece of paper to cover up the hole for the tortoise rod. You know, I can still see that turquoise down in there. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to paint that brown later, or black. All this is looking good. If you want to just kind of keep an eye out, if you want, like I see some ballast, this one piece on the top of the tie, I'm just going to pull it off right there. There's a little bit, there's one in there. You know, you can do this after it dries with a toothpick or something. And it doesn't hurt, you just spray more on. And that's just going to help it get in all those little cracks. And now I see some spots over here that I don't. Here, let me see if I can point. Like right there. There ain't no white on there. But you know, that's going to soak down in there and go horizontally over, and it's going to get it, so I'm not going to put too much more glue on there. Right here in the center, that glue's piling up, so I'm just going to do some more. And we're going to let that sit for a little while and see where we're at. Check back in on it. Let's do about a half hour. It's been about a half hour. It's starting to soak in. foam. I can just pick that foam away. Look. Perfect. That's perfect. That's perfect. Fixed. Oh yeah. Now I'm just gonna hit that up with a utility knife and then glue some styrene on the bottom of that and see what it looks like. What you know about that? See what this is? This is the styrene. And this is that thin plastic layer on top of that foam, on the insulation foam. It's stuck to the glue. So I'm have a micro thin layer of the top of that pink stuff that's held in place. I am so lucky that that happened. So lucky that happened. Oh, now where is my shit? It's back here. Let's see. This, instead of going here, is gonna fit right there. That's my magnet. That's gonna flip down that way, just like this guy does here. And then that's gonna allow 3 car blocks right here. So there's one uncoupler. Oh no, it's not there, it's here. So that's the loading area, like I said before. And this is gonna be the, let's see if this actually works. Where's that coupler? Whoop. Open right up, see that? Open, closed, open, closed. And this one's gonna open, close right here too. Let's see if we can witness it happen when I put the block. Oh, yep, open, closed, open, closed. So they'll be able to uncouple right there and it'll line up with the platform, or uncouple right there and line up with the platform. These are empties, one's loaded, 2's loaded, 3's loaded, easy uncouple. Awesome. And look, didn't even mess up what I did yesterday, all that ballast and dirt. I did it right underneath it. There's what we're doing. It's been about an hour. Still's got to soak in. And I was going ahead getting these switches ready here. Just extending the ties for the switch stands. And I realized 2 things. I gotta go get some more alcohol. I've literally used this whole bottle just from here over to there. Go through it quick. But the second thing I realized is I don't got lighting in. And doing this back wall and the ballast and stuff, I think it's a good idea to have proper lighting, because I'm not going to be able to know if I like it or not, you know, with these light bulbs in. So it's been about 2 hours and there's our switch. Most of the glue has sunken in. What you want to do as it's drying, you know, just make sure that these are open and moving. You can kind of use your little picker to get underneath there and make sure it's not gluing. And if it does glue tight, you can always go back afterwards and pop each one of those kind of like that and clean it out. Just be careful so you don't break your switch. But yep, all that glue soaked in, 2 hours. Now I'm kind of wrapping up, getting ready to do this next section back along there, prepping that, gonna do that later tonight. And there's that. And what else? I got some more alcohol. Had to go grab that, just ran out. I couldn't keep going. And I looked at lighting, and lighting's just gonna be hard, because the thing with the lighting, I want to be able to stand right up against my layout here without casting this shadow. See this shadow? So the light has to be pretty much perfectly in the right spot on the ceiling. And I couldn't find any good lighting at IKEA or Home Depot. I'm going to go upstairs, and while I'm making this video, I'm going to do some shopping on Amazon. Here's all the stuff that I've done the last couple days.